Welcome everybody to another episode of Chocolate Travels. I'm here with Javier from Mojácar and in Argentina. So we're going to learn all about the chocolate they make there. So hello, Javier. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Joseph. Nice to meet you. Pleasure to be with you today. Thank you for the space to let us know our chocolate, our passion, right?
Well, why don't we start with learning about the name Mojácar? Where did it come from? Why did you select this name?
Yeah. Mojácar is a little town situated southeast of the province of Almeria in Spain. Um, all our family is from Spain. My parents are from there. So back in 2018, we already had this family business project in mind, and we visited Spain, Almeria, in a family trip. My wife, son, my sister, and in that trip decided to use Mojácar as the name of our chocolate because we saw a connection between the happiness and the pleasure that the chocolate creates in people, and also the same type of feelings being in a place like that. It's a little village by the Mediterranean Sea. Those typical village where displaying all white, like the so-called white village in the south of Spain. Beautiful place, a lot of good feelings. So we said, okay, this is a perfect match. Let's pick that name. To be honest, we analyzed some other names, but they were all taken. No, but we are very happy with Mojácar.
Yeah.
To be honest,
You have the connections there. I mean, obviously Argentina has a lot of Spanish connections, and you're Spanish yourself, and I can understand that. My family's Italian, but Spain to me is something else. I love Spain is beautiful, so I can understand that connection of beauty in Spain and chocolate.
We love Spain. Yeah.
When and why did you start chocolate making? Who thought of it, and why did you think it would be a good business idea?
Yeah, no, it all started back in 2017 when I heard that was the first time I heard about bean to bar chocolate, right? And it really got my attention. So I started to do some research, to read, to investigate, and at some point in time, I talked to my wife Valeria and my sister Maria del Mar. They are both part of Mojácar, right? Because as I said before, this is a family business. So I talked to them and I said, okay, we need to do something with this. So they agreed. I mean, they liked the idea, and then we decided to start this business. Of course, we did a lot of research and investigation before launching Mojácar as a brand, commercially speaking. We purchased a little melanger to do some, tests. We got some beans. In Argentina, it's very, very difficult to get cacao beans. So whenever we travel abroad, we always got back to Argentina with a bunch of, cocoa beans from different origins. So we started to make chocolate, to learn the process, to adjust. So this is how we started.
And what were some of the challenges? Do you remember? Did you think it was going to be easy, or was there anything that stood out that you thought, wow, I didn't expect this in chocolate making?
Yeah. No, to be honest, we thought that it was going to be easier. We faced several challenges, not so much regarding the making process itself, because this is something that we learn over the time, and we adjust it. Not saying that it's an easy task, but this is something that, we learn over the time. Most of the challenges that we faced had to do with, getting the beans. As I said before, being in Argentina, it's very difficult to get beans. Argentina, of course, is not a producer of
Right.
cocoa beans.
Is it difficult because is a lot of paperwork involved to bring imports in, or yeah?
Exactly.
Okay.
Mostly because of paperwork. Because if you think Argentina is not so far away from countries that produce, like Peru or Brazil, right? We have a border with Brazil. But the thing is that there is so much paperwork involved in the process of importing cacao that it was really a mess. It was really difficult. Also, importing machines, because here in Argentina you typically don't find machines to to process cacao. I mean, so we had to import a few machines, some of them from India, some of them from Brazil, different places, and that all involved a lot of paperwork. Also, connecting with farmers or with producers was not that easy, right? Especially when you think about small producers. So, and actually, before starting the business, in this period where when we learn the process, trial and error, and all that stuff, we try to find beans that really satisfied our ambitions, that we really like.
Right.
So getting the beans was not that easy,
Getting the beans is not easy, and then getting the beans that you want is even harder. The ones that you're
exactly. That's the point. So yeah, I guess yeah, most of the issues were around that. Of course, bean to bar chocolate is not that known, that familiar in Argentina. People in Argentina are not that familiar to bean to bar, so pushing the concept, explaining, what is the difference between a bean to bar chocolate or a bean to bar bar versus a commercial or industrial bar.
Yeah, so
it was and it continues to be a challenge, I would say.
Right. And I'm guessing the price point too puts a lot of people off. Why is it so expensive?
Yeah, not so much. Not so much.
Okay.
I think that when people get to a point where they know the difference, and when they know what they are paying for, they are willing to pay the price of our bars. But without explanation or education, it can be a little difficult.
Right. Yeah. Would you say Argentinians are they pretty picky when it comes to food quality? Are they very, it has to be like this, or are they more easygoing? What would you say?
No, so it depends. Some people do.
Yeah.
Some people do. Argentina, I would say the annual. I don't remember exactly. How many kilos. The consumption of chocolate per year per person is pretty high compared to the rest of the region, compared to countries like Peru, Ecuador, even, if we are talking about cacao producing countries, the consumption in Argentina is pretty high, but it's all industrial chocolate,
Right. Do you remember what your initial chocolate tasted like? What did you guys think of your first couple batches of chocolate?
As usually happens, right? I mean, you learn over the time. I would say that, even our first batch of chocolate, I wouldn't say that it was something that, we couldn't enjoy. Of course, lots of opportunities for improvement, but in general, we got reasonable products. And as I said before, at the very beginning, we tested beans from different origins. We got in contact with producers from Ecuador, and we always ask them to send us not only technical information about the cacao beans that they were producing, but also a sample. Some of those samples got cut at the customs, so they couldn't make it. But I would say that we got the chance to test and to try beans from different places. A couple from Brazil, a few from Costa Rica. So we got the chance to experiment quite a lot until we got some beans that we say, okay, we love them, let's go with that. And then is when we decided to purchase, a bigger quantity. Right.
And that's what you're using. And that's what you're using now is the Ecuador currently?
Ecuador, exactly, from Hacienda Victoria. We are super happy with those beans. And and again, going back to to your question about the challenges, in Argentina you don't have guys like Meridian in the US,
right,
or Gaia or Silva Cacao, where bean to bar chocolate makers can go and say, okay, I would like to purchase 2 bags of whatever hacienda from Ecuador and Brazil and wherever. I mean, this is what we would like to do. We would like to produce bars from different origins, but since the import process is so difficult, it's something that we cannot do, at least by now. Right.
Is it more about the paperwork, or is it also cost, or is cost not too bad?
I would say both. Paperwork, but cost. Because in order for to get a reasonable balance, talking about cost, the amount that you import has to be, I mean, the largest amount that you import, the better relationship with cost is going to be, because when you import, at least in Argentina, you have some variable cost, but you also have some fixed costs that, regardless the amount that you import, you're going to pay the same. So that's
right. And as a small chocolate maker, it's very challenging to buy packaging or ingredients, whatever, in bulk. Can you tell us about general reactions from customers when you were starting to sell your chocolate, or even today? How do people in Argentina respond to it? What are the questions they have? What do they think about this new bean to bar concept?
Well, bean to bar concept in Argentina is not known very well. Really very few people know about that. So part of the challenge that we have is also to explain the concept, to educate people. But
do they like that? Do they like that? Being educated?
Yeah, exactly. Based on our experience, once they get the concept, once they understand, they really like it. They really like it. So that is why for us, part of our job is not only making chocolate, but also, educating people.
Right. That's a big part.
Explaining. Yes. I mean, we always say that we produce a product. We are very proud about this product, but it's a product that has to be explained, right?
Yeah. That's a very good point, because people can buy this as a gift, or people can just come across it in a shop and take it home, and they could miss everything that it's about. You know, they can eat it and be like, ah, it just tastes like chocolate. Sometimes they need someone to explain to them what it's all about, how to taste it, and they can have a completely new experience, right? So
Exactly.
very
Exactly.
important. Yeah. Yeah. So what type of consumer tends to gravitate towards your chocolate? Um, have you guys noticed that there's a certain type of consumer that likes bean to bar chocolate, dark chocolate?
Uh,
Because you also
it's
sell cocoa
difficult.
nibs, cocoa beans.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I would say that, in general, our customers are people who really care about, what they eat, right? People who really like to have, healthy food.
Mm,
Um, so yeah, as you mentioned, we not only sell chocolate bars, but we also sell meats, and we also sell roasted beans,
right.
and there is a market for that, right?
Yeah, because I
Um,
noticed you show people how to use it, you know, where to put the cocoa nibs, how to incorporate it in their diet. And I can see that resonating with people who are trying to eat more healthy, and more conscious about what they're eating, right?
exactly,
Hmm.
exactly. And also, people who sustainability
Mm,
in food in the supply chain is an important topic for them, because this is, part of the, education that we try to do, right? I mean, it's not only a healthy product, but it's also, all the philosophy behind that. For us, sustainability is a very important topic that, whenever we get the chance, we talk about that as well. I
mm,
mean, not only about the final product. You
right,
know,
right.
we also like to say, we talk about the story behind the product.
Okay, so tell us the lineup of products that you carry today.
So we basically produce like 7 different products. We make two types of chocolate bars, 70% and 80% without any inclusion, right?
Mhm.
We sell nibs, husk for infusions, and roasted beans. And we also sell, it's like a little stick with a piece of chocolate, that you can use to make hot chocolate. So
Okay.
you have your cup with hot milk or
Hmm.
hot
Hmm.
water, and you put this stick with a piece of chocolate, and you use the stick
And you stir
to
it around. Okay.
stir around, right? In Argentina, we call that submarino,
Okay.
like submarine in English. I have no clue why,
That
uh,
makes sense.
but it's a pretty, popular drink, especially in wintertime. Right now in Argentina, there is a pretty big move around specialty coffee. Some of them use our chocolate for making hot chocolate, right?
Right, right. Is mocha, do you guys make mocha in Argentina? Is that big?
We
Yeah,
do, yeah.
yeah. Because it's always, I always find it beautiful when to have a mocha with real nice bean to bar chocolate. It just makes it incredible. It takes to the next level. How would you describe the flavor notes of your single origins? You have, I think, a 70, you said, an 80?
70 and 80,
Mhm.
yeah.
And how would you describe the flavor?
Uh, uh, as far as flavor, at least what we find, right, is a little bit of fruit, a little fruity, a few flower notes, some red fruit, um, a little bit of avocado. We in our packaging we like to, or we actually include uh, tasting notes. And some people, when they go and read, say, "Well, avocado." I mean, uh, and as we always said, tasting, so in my view, right, it's so subjective, you know
It is, yeah.
uh,
I mean,
as far
it's
as you like it. And we saying, because we saying the same beans to produce 70 and 80, but we apply different roasting profiles, right?
okay.
So it is amazing how different they taste, considering that we are talking about the same exact bean,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Of
Yeah.
course, percentage of sugar is different, right? But
hmm
also roasting profile is different as well.
Yeah. Yeah. When it comes to chocolate, there's a lot to play with when it comes to flavor. It's such a simple product, but like you said, just changing the level of sugar and then the roasting a little bit can completely transform the flavor profile. So, in a way, sometimes you don't need so many different origins. You just have to learn how to work with what you have, and you can create
To
something
work
very interesting. Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. We have we had made some small batches, 90%,
Mm,
because these beans, in my opinion, are very, very good for really dark chocolates.
yeah.
um, but so far we are only selling 70 and 80, because when you add a new product, you need to get involved with new packaging,
Right.
uh, approvals, paperwork. But but the batches that we produce, 90%, really, really good. I mean, really
Mm, mm.
easy to eat,
Yeah.
enjoyable.
Some beans are just so spectacular that you can go really high percentage and it's still
Well,
beautiful flavor.
exactly. I mean, this is what happens with Hacienda Victoria. You can go really,
Mhm.
really high,
And the
and
nibs, like you
still
said, the nibs are delicious too on their own. Yeah. Yeah.
exactly.
It seems like from your Instagram that you all like to do pairings with your chocolate. So what sort of pairings have you done, and why do you think it's important to do chocolate pairings?
Yeah, yeah. We usually do wine and chocolate pairing. Couple different reasons. Um, because the way that we see this type of events is not just pairing, right?
Mm,
Um, what we typically do is, okay, we pair roasted beans with wine, chocolate. We prepare something with nibs, and we also pair that with some wine. But in the whole pairing event, we also spend a great deal of time explaining, what is a bean to bar chocolate, and
mm,
talking about cacao.
mm.
Something that happens here in Argentina is not so many people know much about, cacao, where it's grown. So when we do all this explanation during the pairing event, right, and we explain, where cacao is coming from, and they get the chance to see a real cacao bean, try it, taste the cacao bean with wine. I mean, reactions are amazing.
Mm, mm,
So in reality, we use those events, explain and to educate more
right.
on bean to bar chocolate.
Yeah.
Of course, it is also an additional channel to sell, right? Because in those events, in general, people like the chocolate, like the beans, the nibs, whatever. So at the end of the event, they typically buy
hmm
some
hmm
bars, some beans, whatever. But I would say that the main purpose is to educate people. I mean, get
Right.
the chance to explain what we do, how we make it.
You, yeah, you lure them in with the wine, right? Because wine makes people excited. And then when they sit
Exactly.
down, then you start talking about the chocolate and they start to realize how important and spectacular chocolate is. And I think it's important also because these pairings allow people to understand how complex cacao and chocolate is, right? When you compare it to wine, people think chocolate is chocolate. It's that simple, predictable flavor. But people are, especially in Argentina, I'm sure they understand how interesting wine can be. And now you can compare how interesting chocolate can be, and they can try it back and forth with the wine, and it just really transforms their mind. And even just the pairing itself, because people have wine culture, they have coffee culture, they don't have chocolate culture. So what you're doing is wonderful because it sort of brings chocolate into a culture that already exists and gets people thinking about it more.
Exactly, exactly. As you said, here in Argentina, we have a huge wine culture, right? Um, but very little about chocolate.
Right.
So when we do this type of, events, we like to, to do the parallel between wine and chocolate. Uh, and highlight the analogy, so we talk about not only the bean but also the origin, the terroir in the case
Mm-hmm.
of wine, but also in the case of chocolate,
Mm-hmm.
how climate conditions can determine the profile of a bean, the
Mm-hmm.
same bean from the same farm, but different season.
Right.
They will probably taste different, same as with wine. So we like to do that parallel, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It helps people to start incorporating the
To
chocolate
digest that
culture.
information. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly,
Um,
exactly.
I know Argentinians, they love dulce de leche and a lot of sweets. So how come you haven't made milk chocolate or sweeter chocolate? I'm just
Yeah,
curious.
you know what? So far, we have decided to stay on the purist side of the chocolate.
Okay. Yep.
We love the beans
Mm-hmm.
that we use. So for us, the beans are the real star of this
Mm,
show.
mm,
So that is why we haven't made any bar with any type of inclusion.
right.
I don't know. It probably is a mistake because I see around and many people and even been to bar around the world. They all have bars with inclusions which are really really good, right? But we like to highlight all the potential of the beans that we use, but maybe at some point in time,
Yeah.
No, I was going to say, as I said before, any new product that you add to your production line, it involves a lot of additional work,
Yeah.
right? It's not only paperware and packaging, but also machines because
Cross contamination and all that sort of stuff. You need more
exactly,
machines. Yeah. No, it's true. When
exactly.
you work at a small scale, when you change gears, you have to change between flavors, change the refiner, change the tempering machine with the chocolate. It takes time. It adds a lot of time. So if you have fewer products, efficiency is much higher. No, I was just curious. I think that's a good point. I'm not saying it's right or wrong to have the purest view or the flavored view, but it's interesting. I think a lot of chocolate makers, whether they admit it or not, they get into it because of the complexity of the bean, and they love that single origin dark chocolate and all the flavors.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of them end up making the flavored bars more because they're trying to survive as a company. They're trying to appeal to more people, right? So if they want to keep doing the pure bars and they sell the flavored bars so they can keep making the pure bars, keep it going. Because
Right.
the pure bars is like your red wines or your espressos. Not everybody likes that, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I understand, but I always appreciate it when chocolate makers sort of have that mindset too, of really trying to sort of zone in on the flavors, the complexity of the pure, simple chocolate, and getting people to appreciate that. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
still very important. So it's nice to hear that you're
Yeah.
doing that as well. What is some advice that you might give to somebody else who's thinking about making bean to bar chocolate? Is there any one or two tips you would say you should do this way, not the way I did it?
Yeah. Being in Argentina, living in Argentina, being an entrepreneur can be a challenge.
Mm,
So be prepared. It's very nice. It's something that we really enjoy very much, but you're gonna find many, roadblocks along the way.
You have to figure things out yourself as you go.
Don't give up, and yes, you have to figure them out, right? I mean, there's always a way to solve the problems and to figure out how to evolve.
Yeah.
But you have to be creative. And the other thing is that Argentina is not the very large market, especially if you compare to
Right.
countries like Brazil,
Right.
or some countries in Europe. But still interesting, and there are very few people in Argentina making bean to bar chocolate, so I see a big opportunity. So I strongly believe that the more we are, the better,
Right.
because more people, more customers are gonna start knowing about this, and they are gonna appreciate the product. So
Right. It's
some people get in contact to me because they know what we do, and they say, "Hey, Javier, we would like to start our own bean to bar, project." And I am always, and we, not only myself, Valeria, my wife, and my sister too, right, are super open, and to share our experience, talk to them, explain what went well, what didn't go that well. These are the issues that you might find down the road, because again, we strongly believe that the more we are, it's going to be better for everybody. So
right. It's sort of like specialty coffee, right? There's always new coffee shops popping up, and they're trying to make incredible coffee, and they're always busy, right? There's a market for it. So there is potential for these craft chocolate makers, and the more people realize it and appreciate it, the more people will seek it out. So I think there's a lot of potential there. Yeah. And like you said too, definitely being a chocolate maker nowadays requires a lot of creativity and problem solving, right? There's not a clear plan of what to do exactly out there. People are still figuring it out. So you need that.
Exactly.
Wonderful.
Exactly.
What is the best way for people to connect with you in Argentina, outside Argentina, and how can they purchase your?
We have our Instagram account, Mojácar Chocolate, right? And we also have our website with our online store, www.mojacarchocolate.com.ar. So that's the best way to get in contact to us. We deliver to all cities in Argentina. We are not delivering internationally yet. Chocolate is not that easy to ship, especially when you are shipping from a place like Argentina. Right now we are in winter, but you have to ship to somewhere else.
That's summer, yeah.
Summer, so something that we might do in the future, but so far we are selling locally or domestic.
Wonderful. Excellent. Well, thank you, Javier. It was very nice to hear about your story and learn all about your company. Thank you so much.
No, thank you very much to you for giving us, as I said before, the opportunity to let people know about Mojácar, what we do, and our passion about chocolate. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Yeah, you're welcome. I hope a lot of success. I hope you guys do very well there. Excellent.
Thank you very much.
All the best. Take care.
Very much appreciated. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Download the free Bean to Bar app to connect with incredible chocolate makers from around the world. Also be sure to visit beantobarworld.com, your portal for all things fine chocolate, virtual tastings, free learning resources, research, and much more. Subscribe to the newsletter to stay in touch and donate to the free app and free resources here. Contact me for any chocolate-related questions you may have.